Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast where we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. As always, I'm Shanae Howard, and with me is Ryan Robinson
Hello.
and Thomas Shelby.
Hi guys.
And so I know I didn't make it for last recording,
Yeah.
but what is there any like fun gaming accomplishments or any fun like gaming facts that y'all have found since last time we all talked?
No.
No gaming
There's really
accomplishments.
not.
No fact. You don't even have a new fact, Tommy?
No. My gaming life has been like it's barely there at right now,
Oh,
you
no,
know?
it's on life support.
Yeah, like I played maybe half an hour of Ridge Racer Type 0 because
Okay.
they just put that on PSN for the premium tier. And I wanted to see if it was like, I knew it wasn't going to be as good as emulation, but like
Yeah.
well, it is emulation, right? That's what it is, but like it's not going to be as good as like custom emulation.
Right.
But I wanted to check it out to see, like, is it as good as just playing it normally? And, like, I'd say, as far as I can tell, it is. And it's a fantastic game. But that's all I've done this week, as far as video games go.
What about you, Ryan?
I finished the Dying Light 2 campaign the other night.
Nice.
There are multiple endings to that game apparently. And the ending that I got, Rosario Dawson is not happy with me. So I also did a little bit of the Diablo 4 beta. And that game's pretty fun.
Yeah, Berto's been playing it as well, and it's caused him to re-download Diablo 3. And
No. Tell them to play 2.
Yeah, tell him to play the man's one.
I don't know like how much he actually played of 3, but it just was like, oh, like I wonder, it's like he's like, since he was playing it with some old friends, he realized how long that game has been out.
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh, I wonder if it's like how much it holds up to last time I like saw someone playing it. And
Still fun.
yeah, but he's a bit underwhelmed. He's like, oh, I remember why I didn't really like super get into this. But he's been having a lot of fun with the beta, and he's been like able to play with friends he hasn't like played with in a while because he just kind of diverged on like what online games they're playing.
Yeah.
But what's the most fun you've had with it so far?
Well, I didn't want to, because like the game lets you play any one of the available classes. So I chose Barbarian. And I kind of just stayed with that throughout because I kind of just wanted to play the other ones later in the full release. And I gotta say, the most fun I've had with it is kind of figuring out, because I've never been great with skill trees, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
in what way?
I get like, especially like, this was especially apparent in Diablo 2, is that when the skill tree is that massive, it just becomes kind of overwhelming for me, and I kind of don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And like,
do you feel like you're or like not doing the skill tree well when there's so many options? Because that's the way I feel. Is like kind of like almost like FOMO, where I'm like,
Yeah, dude.
oh, but if I had done this differently.
Well, and Diablo 2 is great about it because, like, depending on where you place your points in Diablo 2, you just can't progress at certain points. Like, you just won't be able to, Yeah.
And so I remember when I was playing Diablo 2, I'm the kind of person that if the game has a skill tree, I'm going to look up a build for it. That's just how I am. I don't want to figure out a build. Someone else can tell me the build and I'll do it, right? Well, the thing is that there is such a large number of points you can put in everything, and then like the build will be like, put this many proportionately into this skill and this many proportionally into this skill. So it's not telling you exactly how much to put in the skill. It's just this many for every time you put something in this one, right? But I would lose track because you can put so many points in there. And so
there are a lot of Diablo like build guides. I'd say one, you should try experimenting with it
Yeah.
because like you can find fun builds that are unique to you, even though it might not be like the most optimal thing, you know?
Yeah.
I think you are intelligent enough to make something that will work, you know?
Yeah. So,
But like there are guides out there for that stuff that will tell you when you hit this level and you get this skill point, put it here. You know?
yeah.
That are like very specific like that.
With Diablo, with the beta, like it's so like nobody has figured anything out yet. So like there's like a kind of freedom that comes with that, right? Because I was like, well, there's nobody knows what they're doing, so I'm just gonna put my points into whatever, and I'll see how that plays. And more or less, like the funny thing about it is that like I never felt like I had wasted points because like all of the skills were fun to use in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that they do differently now is that the barbarian, I can't speak to all the classes because I feel like I had the most experience with barbarian, but in every game that I played with a barbarian, like they have multiple melee skills, and those skills are always pulled off with whatever weapon they're holding, right? Whereas now you're equipping, you have two large weapons on your back, like one that slashes and one that's blunt, and then you have two dual wield weapons, and so the different skills utilize each of the weapons, and I don't know, I think that's kind of neat.
Yeah, I remember them showing that.
But yeah, I've skipped through all, like there's like story stuff that they show you, but I skip through all of it because I feel like I'm already gonna play through it anyway, so I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saving that for when the game comes out. But they have public events now, which is like similar to like other online RPGs that I've played, like similar to Final Fantasy 14 or Destiny, where these events that happen like out in the game world, and people can just come together and like do these events, and then like you get treasure at the end. So those have been pretty cool. So I like the game a lot. From the little bit that I played, I leveled my character up to like level 15 or something. And it seems really cool so far. Kaylee was in the character creator screen for like 14 hours, but she was making like some really cool looking characters. I happened to come out of our bedroom one time though, and she had the screen stuck on a male barbarian just staring at his pecs. So I thought that was kind of weird.
Good. She was appreciating. He obviously put in time and work.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, the game is really cool so far. Kayla and I also started playing Remnant from the Ashes again because we're talking about how excited we are for the sequel. So we picked that back up, and I had kind of like, I remember how much fun I had with the game, but I had forgotten like how much we get into the lore, because like there's like lore all over the game, and like we're reading everything and like having conversations about like different characters and stuff. So it's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to actually finishing it though, and seeing if we could like get the platinum in it. But yeah, that's more or less what I've been playing aside from Destiny 2, which is still a lot of fun. So that's me.
I haven't really been playing much either, just because I went out of town last weekend, and then had some family stuff going on. I haven't really touched Hogwarts Legacy, but I think like I'm finally in a place where I can go back and finally get that platinum for it.
Do you see that stat that came out on that game?
No.
Like, it's like less than 10% of players have who've started the game have actually finished it.
Wow.
I don't know why, because like the actual story is not that long, and it's pretty easy to beat. Like if you do like any sort of exploring, then you pretty quickly get like over leveled than where you were supposed to be in the story. So it's not like it's difficult either.
Yeah, I mean it didn't.
And like you could change the difficulty settings pretty quickly. So if that's the thing. But also like
they weren't trying to say like the game was too hard or anything like that. They were just putting the fact out there. You know.
Well, see, like my point is like the gameplay is pretty short, like the actual
Yeah.
story gameplay, and it's not difficult. So I don't really know necessarily why that is a reason. Besides people just like, I just came here to do one stuff, or people being upset because it's not what they wanted, I guess. I
Sure.
don't know. But I'll have to. I don't know. I'm part of that 10%, I guess. I'm just better than other Harry Potter
Oh yeah,
fans.
she's a 10%er, y'all.
Um, but my sister did bring her Switch with us down to Corpus Christi, and um, I did not know that there was a Legos Incredibles games.
Yep.
I played those, and I feel like compared to like the Lego games I have played, like the Star Wars, the Lord of the Rings, like the Harry Potter ones, uh, I don't know, there's like more variance in the actions that you can do in the Incredibles games, which was nice to see. And
I imagine there'd have to be though, right? Like, because the thing about like the Lord of the Rings and the Star Wars ones and all of that is there's like a billion fucking characters for you to pick from, you know. So they just kind of like give each one of those like one or two things they can do. With the Incredibles, I can't imagine them having that many characters for you to
so
choose
they
from.
pull from different IP. Like at one
Oh,
point, like I was Dory from Finding Nemo.
okay. So they just pull it from Pixar movies.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah,
Uh, so like there's those moments, but a lot of them, like there's like the maps to the other areas are not that large, but this is like an actual like city map you're going through.
right.
And then it just points out like where you would go to continue the story, and it's like much
Yeah,
larger than the other ones I've played.
yeah. That's how a lot of the
Um,
more current ones, like I think, other than Lego City Undercover, I think maybe Marvel Superheroes was the first one to do it that way,
and I didn't
or maybe the third Lego Batman. Like it started around then. Most of them are that way
I played
now.
the first Lego Batman for sure.
Yeah,
And yeah, so but it was new for me, and so that was fun. She's still like she's like I think I know I've mentioned before, like she's really into Splatoon and has like a Discord. And when we went down to Corpus Christi, like part of that is because one of the people from the Discord that like they've hit it off, and like they are very similar vibe of people. Like she lives there, so we went and hung out with her and went
yeah,
to a Harry Potter themed coffee shop. Found out they actually had to change their name because of licensing.
yeah.
Because it was before the coffee muggle, but now it's just the coffee mug with 2 G's.
Sure.
And but yeah, it was like really nice. I learned a lot more about Splatoon. Um, well, I was like trying to think.
Give me a Splatoon fact.
So uh there's giant. I mean, I didn't know that there was like giant salmon in the game. I knew there was fish. I just didn't know what.
Oh, for like
Like,
Salmon Run, yeah, Salmon
yeah,
Run's
that
fun.
Salmon
That's
Run is
just
her
horde
favorite.
mode.
Yeah, Salmon Run is her favorite one. So that's the one that she
Yeah,
does the most often. But then like the little fish that go behind the like metal contraption where you have to
yeah.
like hit it on the tail. So I just was like watched her for a while and like started recognizing like different enemies and like what you have to do to defeat them. Um but I've still been like reading again, still reading like a couple fun things. We went by a used bookshop and I got some actually found some books that I've been wanting, which is like in a used bookshop, it's really hit or miss if you find anything that's like worth out, like you kind of actually want. But yeah, I haven't really done a whole lot of video game related stuff either. But just been really doing that. But this week though, Thomas, you did want to talk about what our favorite video game weapons are.
It occurred to me that like it's such a simple thing, but we've been doing this forever, and
Yeah.
somehow this has never been a topic.
How?
I don't know. And then like while I'm trying to think of like what are the weapons I like the most in games, I'm like thinking of all these things are like items but not weapons. I'm like, well shit, we haven't done that either.
Oh,
You know?
we should definitely do that one.
Yeah.
So the first one that popped in my head was the Buster Sword from like Cloud's sword, just because it's like the first one that I can remember being like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I like seeing it on like
It's a
art
big
and
ass
stuff.
sword, man.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like a katana or like any like a scimitar or anything. It's just like
It's a
It's
big ass
everything.
sword.
Yeah, everything is like much bigger.
Yeah.
And
So like that comes from Berserk, but like Final Fantasy VII is definitely what popularized it. You know.
but Square Enix in general, I feel like has like weapons where the aesthetic kind of like fits what I like.
Yeah.
I like them either like because even when I was trying to think of like other like weapons that I like the why am I'm blanking on the name. In Breath of the Wild, there is a sword that looks like a steampunk buster sword. The ancient blade saw, that's what it is. And it looks like a steampunk buster sword. And I was like, I remember I got that. I was like going around like, I'm Cloud Strife.
Yeah.
I don't know. But of course, like my favorite weapon, like of all time, is to no surprise, the Keyblade.
I knew it.
I mean, as you should. I talk about the franchise often enough.
Yeah.
It's like I said, no surprise.
hmm
But I really like the in general like the aesthetics change for every area. I like that like it's just like a little keychain and how much you can swap it out. 'Cause there's
Oh, is
weapons-
that all that is? So I don't know a lot about Kingdom
Oh,
Hearts,
yeah.
right? But like I knew that there was like different Keyblades. I didn't realize it was just the same sword changing the way it looks,
Yes,
like the characters do.
Yeah. it's just a little keychain.
That makes a
you
lot of
add to it.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you add to it, and then like depending on the world, obviously it's the aesthetic of that world, so it doesn't
Yeah.
automatically get like that.
Right.
Yeah, so I
I
mean,
did not know that.
yeah, there's a lot of like weapons that like you can like customize or like change in a lot of video game franchises. But the fact that like Keyblade is so like varied, and of course I have like my own favorite aesthetics like with it, but I don't think there's any like really like in my opinion like super bad Keyblades, just some that are not my aesthetic. But I think they all make sense for like the worlds or references they're trying to be. And like I don't care how like dopey other people find it. I like the fact that like it like actually does unlock things. Not only is it a weapon, it actually also works as a key.
Multi-purpose.
It's in the
Some
name.
of mine are multi-purpose as well. Very good.
It's in the name, man.
So what are some of yours, Thomas?
I mean, I've got a big ass list.
Hell
so
yeah, brother. Let's hear it. Let's hear
You
that.
guys
motherfucking
just
list.
stop me.
Number one first.
The first one that came to mind, which is typically the first one that comes to my mind, is Metal Blades from Mega Man 2. It's the first weapon in any video game that I could think of. Like, as a kid, I remember thinking, holy shit, this is awesome, right? And, like, not because it's cool or it looks cool or any lore reason, just because it's, like, super fucking effective for a game that at the time was very hard for me, you know?
And that's like the Shuriken kind of thing, but they're just like saw blades, right?
They're saw blades, but like you can shoot them diagonally, which you can't do with a lot of weapons in that game. And you can beat Metal Man to get that weapon without anything, with just the pea shooter, you know? And then like that weapon, unlike most Mega Man weapons, is effective for like most of the bosses. So you get Metal Blades and that'll carry you through Mega Man 2. And as a kid, like, I didn't know what order I was supposed to be doing those games in or anything like that, you know? So when you stumble upon, hey, I can get through this level with just the starter weapon, and then you get that thing, and that carries you so far, Metal Blade's just awesome. And yes, it turns out Mega Man 2 is like one of the easiest Mega Man games, but like, you know, it was hard for me back then.
It's hard for me now. So.
Yeah. So yeah, Metal Blades is my first one.
All right, what about you, Ryan? What do you think is like your absolute favorite?
My app. Oh shit.
It doesn't. It can change at any point. But sorry, let me rephrase that. Your absolute favorite at this moment.
Well, like, it's hard, right? Because like I have favorites on my list. There are favorites for like different reasons. Like some of them are
Same.
aesthetics. Some of them are practicality. But I will say on my list, probably the one that I think left the biggest impression on me is the super shotgun from Doom 2.
I think a lot of people would have that on their list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like so fucking cool because at the time, I think I was probably 9 or 10 the first time I saw it. And I had at that point come up with just, playing the first Doom, and he had the shotgun, but it was a pump action shotgun. Don't get me wrong, pump action shotguns are always fucking cool. But there was something about the animation for that super shotgun, him like firing both barrels at the same time, and then that breach opens, the reload, and him like dumping the shells into it, and it's just and it has
and the sound.
It has like a really satisfying kerchunk sound. It's
like not even the shooting sound, the reload sound.
Yeah, it's just so cool. And like when the first time you shoot a pinky in the face with one of those sumbitches and it just falls backwards, oh man, there's nothing like it. And what's great about it is that the first time I played Doom 2, like it was nobody told me anything about the game. Nobody told me like what weapons there were in the game or anything. So when I found the super shotgun, it was just like this big surprise. I was like, there's a super shotgun. So,
yeah, because it was the only new weapon, you know?
Yeah, but it's so great. And then like I used that gun through the whole fucking game, man. I didn't give a shit. That gun rules. So super shotgun is definitely, I guess, looking at this list, is probably my favorite.
What are some other top contenders for y'all?
Well, okay. Going off of Ryan's, I have to say the VK12 from Fear, the original Fear, it is the Fear shotgun.
It spooks you.
It's just like, it's fucking loud as shit, and you never really know what's going to happen to one of those enemies when you shoot them with it, right? Like sometimes it just hits them and they die, right? But then sometimes they go fucking flying.
Nice.
And then like sometimes they turn into a red cloud of mist,
Cool.
And like it's funny if you look at like Boomer Shooter like favorite weapons lists now, it's going to be one of those two. It's going to be the Doom 2 super shotgun, or it's going to be the VK12 from Fear. It's a fantastic gun.
What about like? Should we count characters you can use as weapons?
Oh yeah, dude! I've got plenty of things on my list that you guys are going to be like, "Well, is that really a weapon?"
Because there's like, because I know like Banjo-Kazooie, you can use Kazooie as like a weapon. Can't you? Didn't I say that?
Yeah, I think so. I have not played enough Banjo-Kazooie, but I believe so.
I've only ever played Nuts and Bolts, and I don't really remember it that much. So,
well, you can do the run thing, you can do the fly thing. Yeah, no, because you can do that thing where you like go forward, and that will hurt enemies, I'm sure.
Yeah, because I also try to think, because like I know, because in like Mario Odyssey, you can use the hat to like hit things.
That's true.
But
yeah.
I was like, I don't know if you really consider that like a weapon either.
Yeah.
I mean, I would.
What are some other things on your list, Thomas?
The Cerebral Boar.
Hell yes. Yes.
From Turok.
So good. So fucking good.
Not because like it's amazing, but like just because it's fucking cool, Sinead, do you know the Cerebral Boar?
I am not familiar.
Well, you know Turok, right?
Turok with the dinosaurs.
Yeah. So it's like a first-person shooter, right? But you shoot this thing, and it like locks on to the enemy's head and like drills out their brains.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the brains come spewing out of it.
Yeah.
And then they die. But
that's kind of metal.
The kicker was that there are enemies in the game that are too dumb for the gun to be used on. Like if they don't have enough brain if they don't have enough
Star Wars, when they're like when he tries to like do the force powers on Watu, but Watu's too fucking dumb for it to work.
Like they're like if the enemy doesn't have enough brain activity for it to be used on them, then it won't track them. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
That is funny.
And that that was like we were pretty young when we were playing that. So like anything that was gory,
Yep.
Especially like brain matter on the N64 of all places,
Brains was still like uncharted territory at the time. So
Yeah.
we didn't see a lot of brains back then.
Unless you're playing Mortal Kombat.
Not even Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat wasn't showing a lot of brains. It was mostly bones and blood. A lot of
Lots of
brains.
rib cages.
Yeah, lots of rib cages. You
I
get
feel
six.
like there's a brain and the whole like brain stem in one of the.
You get
That's true. That's true.
you get six rib cages per person, man. They were
Yeah.
saturating the market with rib cages back then.
I've got the knife from Resident Evil 2 remake.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have
Go
some
ahead.
Resident Evil on my list. I've talked about it before, but the when I got the Chicago typewriter after beating Resident Evil 4 the first time, and
Yeah.
I was replaying it with it, I felt so fucking powerful. And then I got that infinite rocket launcher, and I felt even
Oh,
cooler
yeah.
then.
All those
Uh,
endgame weapons are fucking great, right?
Yeah, there's
But-
like, and especially
yeah.
like when you've been like me, where I was struggle busing through the game for most of it, and
Yeah.
then be able to replay it and just wreck shop and be like, "Hey, you know how you kicked my ass 6 times in a row earlier? Get fucking wrecked." Those were cool. Those were fun.
So I had the RE2 remake knife for like kind of a super cheese reason, but like it doesn't matter. It makes the game fun. If you're playing that on PC, the way that the knife works, like the way that it calculates damage, is by how long the knife is, like how many frames the knife is, like the hitbox and hurtbox collide, right? So if you are playing, like if your PC is powerful enough for you to play at a higher frame rate, that knife is doing shit tons of damage, you know? And that's just super weird. I don't know why they've never fixed that, but like super fun, you know?
Yeah. It seems like one of those things that I wouldn't fix because that's just, oh man, I'm blurry. Because that's just fun. Like that's just
Right.
a fun thing.
Right, and speedrunners were using it for that reason, right?
Sure.
So like you take it out, there's a segment of your community, and Resident Evil is very much known for the speedrunning community
Sure.
that's going to be not pleased, you know?
Yeah.
You got something for me, Ryan?
Oh yeah.
What you got?
So I'm glad you brought up knives because on my list, the next one, and one of the things I have on my list is the knife in Streets of Rage, specifically when Blaze is using it. Specifically when Blaze,
Wait, what does Blaze do differently with it?
because like okay, everyone else has like a little they do a little jab, right? There's a little jab, right?
Or the throw?
Or
Yeah.
the throw, right? But Blaze, she stabs and then she does a slash every time.
Oh
She'll
yeah,
stab and she'll slash every time.
yeah.
And
That's
that's really
funny.
cool because that's the only weapon. It's the only weapon in the game that has any kind of unique animation for a character.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was cool. And like I don't even like using Blaze that much. I'm more of an Axel guy.
Sure.
But when I am using Blaze, I like always make it a point to get the knife because I know, and I don't even know if it's doing more damage. To be honest, I just think
Right.
it's more hits and it looks cooler, so I like doing it.
Right.
And it's what's great about it is that a lot of brawlers, like before or since, didn't do a lot with the knife as a weapon. Like it's always like you're either stabbing them or you're throwing it at them, and that's it. Pretty much
Yeah.
full stop, right? But with Blaze, it was like a whole other thing. And again, I don't know if she's doing more damage or not, but it just looks cooler. It's more satisfying to do, so I like it.
Section A? Oh, I thought you said something. Oh, we can't hear you at all.
I can't hear you, man.
Oh, I forgot that I had muted myself, so you didn't like. in
That's
case, like,
okay.
the dog came in here or something. I don't. I don't really know how to pick one, but I do think like most of Bayonetta's stuff is pretty cool. Like I like that she uses her hair as a weapon, and I like that
Yeah.
her like gun boots, and I think those are pretty fun.
Yeah.
Tom,
You know, I thought about a bunch of character action games when I was trying to come up with this list, and like for me, those games, like those were just a function, but like I didn't think about her hair. Like that is pretty cool, you
Yeah.
know? Like all the monsters that form with that and the giant fists and all that, like super fun for sure.
Tom, who does gun boots better, Bayonetta or the little boy from Downwell?
Well, I do have Downwell on my list, and I don't have Bayonetta on my list, so
Oh, there we go. There we
Yeah.
go.
Another shotgun. I've got the Downwell shotgun on there.
So
And
fucking
like,
good. It's really good.
yeah, I just feel like it's got the perfect amount of shots to where like, because you're using like everything in Downwell has multiple functions, right? So like the guns, regardless of what gun, will hurt enemies, clear out blocks, or slow your descent, right? And it's like the perfect amount of shots to like really make it useful for large combos, which is what Downwell is all about.
Yep.
It does a lot of damage, and like it just sounds super beefy. So
Yeah.
it's a good one.
Beefy.
Will the shotgun take you to the end to the bottom of the well, Tom?
I mean, I frequently will change weapons. I think most people that have played a lot of Downwell, you're frequently changing weapons, not necessarily because you want to, but because you need the health, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I was like sitting on the couch with my daughter, and I'm like, hey, what weapons do I really like in video games, you know? And she's like, well, what about this game? Well, what about that game, you know? And she's like, well, what about Spelunky? I'm like, I love Spelunky, but I don't really love any of those weapons, you know? So Downwell was like the closest thing to that.
I'm surprised that Ryan, you haven't brought up anything from Saints Row, because like you're the one who the one of us that have played those games. But I know that they have a wide variety of very fun and very silly weapons.
Yeah.
Like I know like there's like the one where it looks like giant fists on your hands.
Yeah. There's a gun in Saints Row that is actually very cool. And it's basically, and I have no idea how this gun works, but it's very funny when you use it on people. It's a gun that basically when you shoot it at them, like sharks will come from out of nowhere and start tearing them apart. And it's hilarious every time.
That's the Shark-O-Matic.
Saints
pretty sure
Row 4, I think that gun is in. And it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called the Shark-O-Matic. I'm pretty sure it's pretty aptly named.
Yeah, well, it's like endlessly hilarious. And the close second for that game is the dubstep gun, and it's just because you shoot it at people and then they dance till they explode, and that's funny.
Was it Saints Row or Dead Rising that had that Pegasus weapon, like the one where it looks like a little like Seth Pegasus on a stick?
That sounds more like a Dead Rising thing.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure, but if I had to guess, I'd say that's a Dead Rising thing.
One time, Ryan and I tried to see how far we could get in Dead Rising using only a mannequin.
That's true.
Like Dead Rising and Saints Row both have like a wide variety of pretty fun and funny weapons. Like
the answer is not very, as it turns
out.
In case you were wondering, I also have on my list the hammer in Super Smash Brothers.
The Donkey Kong hammer?
Yeah, the one that basically, like, if you have any damage, it makes you instantly fly off the map.
Yeah.
Because whenever I get it, everyone's like, "Fuck!" and like they just start jumping away from you.
I love shit like that. It's so great.
I also have Bullet Bill in Mario Kart as well. I don't know if you can have it as a weapon, but
it does damage.
An item.
Like it damages, like it hits the other players, but like also you only get that weapon if you're not doing well, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. If I'm like getting frustrated and I'm not doing well and I get that bullet, I'm like, fuck yes, I'm still in the game.
Sure.
Like at least if I'm on like the first.
I mean, I would rather Bullet Bill than the blue shell, you know?
So I'm not like a huge fan of the blue shell. If we were to ask Birdo, his is definitely the banana. He likes to his number one move, and anytime I play Mario Kart, is getting bananas and only placing them underneath the mystery boxes.
Yeah, you place them on the mystery boxes and on the speed boosts.
Yeah, like before the jumps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
I always put them on corners.
I do corners as well.
But you can see them on a corner.
No. If you place them like right after the turn of the corner, they are very hard to see.
No, I'll see it.
If you're a fucking noob. So we recently played with my family who don't know that fun quirk, and I also just realized that they are mystery boxes, not dice. I have called them dice my entire life until last week.
It's all right,
sure. What about in Mario Kart 1 where they were just flat little things on the floor.
Yeah.
I did not play Mario Kart 1. My first Mario
Yeah.
Kart was
Those
Double
delicious,
Dash.
those delicious Mode 7 graphics.
Mm.
Hmm.
What else?
Ryan, what do
What else
you
we got?
what do you think about the GoldenEye proximity mines?
So
Because I really love them.
placing proximity mines in places in multiplayer where
Yes.
people think that you are hiding or that they might want to hide is very funny. And what's funny about it is hearing the explosion and then seeing the red of their screen.
Yeah. Yep, dude. Proximity mines only facility.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah, so good.
Also, facility is like objectively the best map in that game.
Oh yeah. More recent ones. I've got some more recent ones on here. I've got the Stingray from Splatoon. I know it's in Splatoon 2. I've not really touched Splatoon 3, so I don't know if it's still in there or not. But the Stingray is basically like a giant beam of ink, right? But also you can like see where everybody is. Like you can see their silhouette through shit. And it shoots through shit. You know?
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Kind of reminds me of that Perfect Dark.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
The alien sniper.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very annoying and people hate when you use it, but I always use it because why wouldn't I? You know?
I wish Magic users had more like variants of like weapons or items to like help them out. Because like I know like just because it would be fun for like aesthetically, but I know that like it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because like if you can do magic, then you basically can just do magic. Why do you need like an item necessarily?
Well, I
But
think
I like that like in Fire Emblem they have like the books and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know like in Harry Potter they have the wands, but I don't know, it'd just be fun to like create some sort of variance with that.
Yeah, I'm a big,
Sure.
when it comes to magic users, I'm a big fan of the book over the wand. Something about them having the tome is like very like I don't know, it's very cool to me.
I think it's the difference between a wizard and a sorcerer.
But like I think like it's like because it sucks because I can't think of them right now, but I've seen games where you are a magic user and they just give you like different items that you do different spells with, and I always think that's really neat. There should definitely be more of that.
Yeah, because like in Fire Emblem, whenever like all the Fire Emblem games I've played, like to give the boosts and stuff is always just give them a book. They don't, but not all of them have it where they're carrying or holding the book during like combat or actions.
Yeah. So one of mine is okay. So in the Yakuza games, I'm gonna go ahead and say all of them. There are like if you get in a fight in the street, which is where most of your fights take place, if you happen to be standing near a place with because there are some places that have these like light up street signs, usually like outside of pachinko parlors or something similar. There's these signs that with like all these light bulbs all over them, and it's like super satisfying to pick one of those some bitches up and use your fucking special move on them and just like clock someone over the head with it. And it always does this like really satisfying angle, and the camera slows down right when it hits the back of their fucking head, and the thing fucking shatters and like all these fucking lights fly out. It's so fucking cool, man. I love Yakuza, but I love that weapon specifically because it just feels like you can really feel the fucking impact in there. It's just so great.
I like when the actions feel like they have weight to it.
Yeah, because like because it shows the way Kiryu swings it, like he's hitting it so hard. He's like swinging it so hard that he like stumbles a bit when the hit lands because he's just putting all his fucking momentum into that hit. It's really neat. It's really something special there.
Yeah, I also have Kratos's Chaos Blades in my list too.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I really like especially the newer games, the variants of styles, but forever in the games. Like I like that it's also used like for him to like get places as well. To basically use it like mountain climbing gear.
Yeah.
Because it just makes sense. Like if those are your weapons, like
and
why wouldn't you use them? Yeah, why wouldn't you use them that way?
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
And I also with the new game, like there is trees on what you unlock and how you play them. So like if you like more heavier hitting stuff with them, most of the time they're pretty flowy, but they do have like some where you can like do a lot heavier hits with them.
Yeah.
And it just always feels good. Like it just like as far as combat goes, like it never feels awkward. And I've always like really liked that. And I like that it's just like different than a lot of like it feels different than games I've played where the character is like dual wielding. Because normally they feel pretty weak. Like
Yeah.
Um, I remember the first time I played God of War 1, and the first time he spins around with the chains outstretched. I was like, man, this guy's fucking cool, man. This shit's gonna be cool forever.
he's like,
And
yeah,
I think-
I'm gonna murder you across this football field.
It's so fucking cool, man.
Like the Blades of Chaos is one of the only things that has remained from the old God of War.
Yeah.
As an outsider looking in on the new games, like it feels very much of its time,
Sure.
right? If they were making God of War now and it was an original thing, I don't think there'd be knives with chains attached to them. You know,
It should be.
it's a very David Jaffe thing, and it's so very Spawn of him. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm glad they're still around.
Yeah. I need more Spawn
Yeah,
in video games.
like the axe is cool, but like it doesn't feel unique. It doesn't feel like when I'm playing it, like it does feel clunkier than the blades as it should as far as the new games go. Obviously as the new games because that's the only ones that exist and anyways, but like yeah, I mean it just I like the difference, but the Blades of Chaos, like from the get, I've always thought they were cool. I like that he like also will use the chain to like choke shit out and then take the knife and stab him as he's
I
choking
didn't know he
him.
did that shit. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, like since the the first games I played, yeah, like I remember him like it's mainly obviously it's creatures. He never does
Yeah.
it to human.
Yeah, because he's got a code, you know.
Because the parents would complain, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's fucking cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
I can't think of anything else. I think that was like the last of like the ones that I was like super good at. I have like other ones that like, oh, I kind of liked this.
Yeah,
Actually, no, the portal gun.
I had that one too. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's interesting, right? Because I've only ever played the first Portal.
Yeah.
And what I remember of that game is the portal gun. Like, I guess it's a really interesting, right? Because there's not really combat in the game, right?
There is. It just depends on how you decide to do things. You know,
Well, like, I mean, you got your
If you- Ryan,
the turrets.
if you start thinking in portals,
Sure.
you know, then
I'm thinking very two-dimensional right now. and
Right.
It's
Yeah. Get the
because like you can like put an orange one on the ceiling and put
Yeah.
a blue one right underneath a turret,
right.
and they will fall and die.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
or like you can put one on the ceiling and throw a box through the other one to land
Sure.
on top of the turret. You know, yeah,
It's very cool though.
yeah.
What are the ones you got, Thomas?
I've got. I don't know what you guys will think of this, but Flood from Mario Sunshine. So, like,
I mean,
here's the
that's
thing
definitely a
about Flood, right? Yeah, you do damage enemies with Flood.
Yeah, those
Right.
fucking dirty oil monsters.
Yeah, and like, but like, also you can use it for platforming and traversal
Mhm.
because Mario doesn't have a long jump in that game.
Yeah, multi-purpose like a keyboard.
But you can hover with Flood, right?
Yeah.
And then like, also it's kind of like Power Wash Simulator before Power Wash Simulator existed.
True.
You know.
True.
Flood's just very fun. I don't care for Flood's voice, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, Flood. I've got the Topiary Sprinkler from Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Okay, explain.
So-
Describe that one.
Yeah, it's really neat. Like, it's not even like super useful, but like I just aesthetically, it's very neat. Like the way that it works. So you're shooting the enemies with whatever this like formula, it's some sort of liquid, right? And then like they
Not
just
penis
grow
or-
plant life all over them,
Now that's cool.
and that keeps them from moving.
That's
you
fucking
know.
cool.
And
That's
Ratchet and
cool.
Clank has a shit ton of fun weapons, but
Yeah.
like Topiary Sprinkler, for sure. Going off the plant thing, the Snow Pea from Plants vs Zombies.
True. Yeah.
You know, it's the pea shooter, but it slows down the enemies, and like, it's kind of lame, but like it's also like you're gonna use that every time you're gonna use the Snoopy.
Yeah.
You know.
I feel like the most satisfying weapon in that game is the watermelon catapult.
Yeah, that one's fun.
Yeah,
that one's fun.
Love it.
Let's see. Oh, I've got the pipe bomb from Left 4 Dead.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that thing a lot. You know, you don't have to be good. You know, you just throw it wherever, and the zombies are going to go to it, and like it's just very fun. It's a fun idea. I'm sure many of games have fucking cribbed it since, you know, but like, yeah, the pipe bomb is a lot of fun. I've got the dynamite, the sticks of dynamite from Blood, because like it's just much more useful than a regular grenade. Right, you can like let that fuse go down a bit, or you can just chuck it whenever you want to. It's very bouncy and it just works super well. And the last one I got is Quake's nail gun.
Nail gun is classic.
Yeah, and that's just because it's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like it's not even that great. It's just fucking cool, you know.
Pick up those boxes of 9-inch nails, man.
Yeah.
I love that band.
Yeah. Yeah, I first played Quake at a friend's house on his Macintosh computer, and it wasn't even his computer, it was his dad's computer. We'd snuck into his parents' bedroom to play it when they were at work or something.
Yeah.
And I thought like the nail gun was the coolest fucking thing because that's the first time that I can remember outside of Doom where in a first person shooter a tool had been repurposed to be a weapon, and I always think that shit's fucking rad.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, it is.
So yeah, nail gun fucking rules, man.
I forgot to mention it when I was talking about other like Final Fantasy weapons are my aesthetic, but the gunblade. The gunblade's also fucking cool.
Yeah, I just wish I've been spending the last 25 years, Shanae. I've been trying to find out how that thing fucking works. And I don't understand how it works.
So you know that I don't know if you know this, but apparently the laws of physics and reality work different in Final Fantasy games. Like
sure.
Like I'm assuming it's magic.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's magic.
But like they put bullets in the motherfucker, right? So I don't know. I've read a lot of theories over the last 2 decades about how that thing fucking works. I wish Square would just fucking tell me so I could put this to rest and stop torturing myself. But they won't, unfortunately. So I have a few that I haven't mentioned. One of them is the charge shot from Star Fox 64. That is the weapon that I just went through the whole game using that weapon. Like I didn't use a regular laser. I just charged the shot and then I did
no bombs.
Well, I use bombs, but like I mean the bombs are finite. The charge shot is forever. But I kind of like went through my whole playthrough just doing that over and over and over again, and just very satisfying to use. I don't know, just something about it just felt really good to use every time I pop that thing off. The 10mm pistol from Fallout, like all of them, like you could take yourself through any Fallout game, 1 through whichever one you're talking about. You can carry yourself through the whole game using that 10mm pistol. It's just great. It's just a great all-around gun. It has stayed great throughout the franchise. It looks cool, and the only thing that sucks is that in the later games it doesn't sound as cool to shoot it, but still the utility is always there, and ammo is plentiful because every fucking enemy is carrying it. It's just a great gun. Also, the exploding CDs in Revolution X, because I have no idea how that shit works. How do they get them to explode? What are they using? Like, I don't get it, but it's always cool. Watching the fucking New Order Nation fucking soldiers fly apart whenever they got hit with them some bitches was always satisfying.
Those guys looked a lot like the DUP.
Yeah, they did. Almost like Revolution X and Infamous are in the same universe. I've also got going off of the 10mm gun, I have like this affinity for starting weapons. Like I'm really fond of the PP7 in GoldenEye. Like it's just something about it is just really fun to use that gun.
It's the first one that you kill with, and your first kill always matters the most to you.
That's true. I guess that's one way to look at it.
Okay, let me ask you this, right? Starter weapons.
Yeah.
Doesn't it have to go to like the plasma cutter? Because like most like PP7's great, you know. Most pistols in FPS games are fine, but like the second I get something else, I'm not using it again. You know, plasma cutter, I'm using the whole game.
On Dead Island, you start off with legs, and then I spent the entire game curb stomping.
That's true.
So I mean,
your legs are the ultimate starter weapon.
Well, you actually cannot stomp in Dead Space.
That's also true.
You pick up
it's a starter weapon. It's a starter weapon that you can't use.
Dead Island, not Dead Space. So.
Oh, I didn't know Dead Island had a stomp.
It's more of a jump.
Yes.
They call it a stomp, but it's more of a jump. Really. Yeah. You're
jumping
down. Because
the thing is, like, you're on an island, so you don't really so the ammo is pretty like finite. So you just end up curb stomping through most of the game.
Yeah.
At least I did.
The plasma cutter is pretty fucking great though. I really like cutting off their fucking limbs with that sumbitch.
See, and I didn't put it on my list, but like as far as starter weapons go, you know,
but again, it's not all about the practicality for me. It's not all about how much damage it can do. There's just something about those weapons that just is fun to use. Like whenever I think about Resident Evil 2, I always think about Leon's handgun in the original game. There's something about it, you know, that is just something about that gun that is very like iconic to that game to me. Something that like it is very much like that character. Like Leon is like intrinsically linked to that gun for me. Like no matter what other weapons he uses in that game, every time I think of Leon in that game, I think of that gun. And it's not the best gun. Like, yes, you can upgrade it and you give it a 3-round burst and all that, but like in its original form is my favorite.
Sure.
Just original forms.
Well, if we're going off aesthetics, man, like damn near every weapon from the Prey reboot.
Yep.
Like they just look fucking awesome.
Yeah,
you know,
everything looks fucking cool in that game, man. That's just like just as like thematically, that game is fucking cool. But even still, like the weapons in the original Prey are also fucking cool because they're all kind of alive a little bit, and I like that. I like that in my weapons. I like my weapons to have feelings and stuff. At Chain Lightning in general, I don't care what game we're talking about. If we're talking about just chain lightning in video games is fucking cool. Guns that shoot chain lightning and the lightning arcs between enemies and stuff. That's just always satisfying. Just watching the fucking numbers go up, man. I love it. I love that stuff. Huh?
Is that all right, Darth Sidious?
Oh, I don't know what that means.
He's the one that's like a.
Which one is that?
Emperor Palpatine, the one that shoots lightning at everybody.
Okay. And I think lastly, I have the Great Sword in Monster Hunter. It's just really fucking big. It's very heavy, and you get a real good, powerful, charged up swing with it. Every game lets you do something like one cool thing with it. And Monster Hunter Rise, you can like use your fucking grapple bugs to go way up in the air and then come down doing flips and shit onto the monster's fucking skull. It's just good. It's just fucking dope, man. Real cool. And when you get a real good hit on the fucking tail and the tail comes flying off.
Yeah.
It's nothing like it. Like those swords.
I do have one last one. It's kind of dumb, but also maybe the best one.
Let's hear it.
Because it's in the Simpsons arcade game. It's Marge Simpson's vacuum cleaner.
She has to be so strong to do that, man.
Well, because listen, right? Like me as a kid who liked the Simpsons and all that, right? I would never think that Marge would be my first pick, you know, or even my second or third pick. But like, that's who you want to be. You want to be Marge because of that fucking vacuum cleaner, you know?
Because like Homer's got his mitts. Lisa's got her jump rope. Bart's got his skateboard, but Marge has that fucking vacuum cleaner that she's walloping dudes in the face with.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool, man.
So,
I
you
got
know,
that.
settled the best video game weapon,
Marge's vacuum.
Marge Simpson's vacuum.
Yeah.
And like that's a vacuum cleaner is not an easy thing to swing around.
Sure.
So she's been working out to be able to.
Well,
to
she's
be able
got
to,
that motherly strength, you know.
Sure, like she's trying to save her baby, you know.
Vacuum and the car.
Yeah, but there are so many video game weapons that like when Tom brought this up, I was thinking like all the weapons in my head because like there are just so many that like I want to name. There's so many that are just like cool to use or fun to use, and there's just so many.
Well, Shanae made a good point. You were talking about. She was asking you like what your favorite one is, and she's like, you know, right now, you know.
Yeah.
And I think like that's a good point to make because if we did the show again tomorrow, I'd probably have a completely different list.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But
Because also like, yeah, no, also like it's by like genre or like what it can do and stuff like that. I mean, mine stayed pretty much the same for a long time because I like am in love with that franchise, but I don't know. I feel like for me, maybe it's like the ADHD or whatever. I don't necessarily notice the weapons in a lot of games where you change them quite often.
Yeah.
It's really only like I really only start deciding what weapon I really like near the end game, or if I'm like I normally, or if I can remember, or if I don't want to change it because to something better or more powerful because I like the aesthetics or like what it does or it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of far and few between. And maybe it's the type of games that I do play. And but even like watching videos of other people playing, maybe it's because I'm not playing it. But I can't think of it I don't know what the last like recent game weapon where I was like, this is fucking cool.
Well, you know what's funny is like there are things that I thought Ryan would bring up that he did not bring up. You know, and like it's just it's just that there's too many of them. There's too many.
There's one more that I meant to include that I forgot to write down, but I just remember it. Can I say it? I'm gonna say it.
Go for
it. So I really liked as one of the people who played Samurai Showdown 2019. One of my favorite weapons in that game is Darly Daggers. She's got this. Darly Dagger has this like big, like serrated saw cleaver thing, and what's cool about it is that like every hit is a bunch of hits because it's all serrated and jagged, and it's just like watching people's health like come off in giant chunks every time you hit them with it is just so fucking cool, man. That's a great fucking
I was thinking fighting games, and I thought for sure you were going to bring up fucking Jax. So, those arms.
Oh yeah, well we're not. It's not his legs we're worried about.
It's his arms.
It's his arms. Yeah, I didn't like. It's funny because like when we're talking about, I did think of Mortal Kombat. But when I thought of Mortal Kombat, I was actually thinking of Kenshi's sword.
I just remember like you played Jax for a while.
Yeah, he's the best dude. I love him.
And like those are certainly weapons, you know. I think most people think about Mortal Kombat weapons. They think about like fucking Mortal Kombat 4 or Deadly Alliance or whatever. But like, you know.
Yeah.
I did just think of like a somewhat recent game that I don't know what it's called, but in Elden Ring, Berto showed me it. There is a like 10-foot tall katana that just made me laugh a lot, and I've seen like videos of people using it, and it just it kind of reminds me of Sephiroth's sword from
that thing's got to be 10 foot tall, right?
Yeah.
Because Sephiroth looks like he's at least fucking 8 foot tall.
Yeah, that's a tall man. That's a tall fucking dude, man.
The Sephiroth can do some dunks, you know?
Yeah, probably. Probably not in those pants, though.
But did y'all have any other ones that you wanted to bring up or any closing thoughts?
I think no, dude. If we don't stop,
we're gonna keep thinking of them. Like that's the thing about this topic is we're gonna keep thinking of new weapons.
That's why I am putting a stop to it, and I asked y'all a question. Will you answer it?
Oh my god, the tone every time, Tom. I think that my closing thoughts is that there are just so many video games that have like some quirky or cool or satisfying weapon, and it's really fun to revisit them. And I hope that this time next year I'll have a whole new list of 10 new weapons because I love video game weapons. I thought of 5 during that sentence. But it's fun to think about like the different ways video games let us interact with them, and this is a good topic to talk about that with. That's it.
This is just a plea to game designers and developers. Make the weapons that 6-year-old you would think was really fucking cool. That's what I want to see. As I like to see, I want to continue to see like creativity throughout, like as video games go on, and the types of weapons, how they look, and how they act. Also, also Tommy and Ryan are right. There is still to this day too few things that drill out brains. We need to get
Yes.
back to the brain
Bring more
destroyers.
brains. In this economy, we can afford more brains, and I feel like we should be getting more brains on the market. Thank you.
More of those weird things that Voldo has on his hands.
Yes, also those. More weird Voldo weapons. Actually, also, to that point, more Voldos. More variations of different Voldos.
In general, more Voldo.
More Voldos. Like every I want every developer to give me their version of a Voldo and put it in their game. That's what I want.
Yeah. Nailed it.
So guys, you can find us on most podcast apps. We're also on Stitcher, Google Play. If you want to see our faces, we're on the YouTubes, and our Discord will be linked. Bye, guys.